I am Lauren Alvarez and this is
Yvette,
Where do you work, Yvette?
at Baptist Hospital in the ER.
Okay, so how does climate change affect human health?
Well, climate change affects human health like in this time of year where we live in a climate and an environment that's very hot and very humid all year round, all the time. When the weather suddenly changes around this time of year when we're hitting fall and winter, that we go from being hot and humid to being very cold. Patients that suffer from pulmonary diseases such as asthma, COPD, emphysema, bronchitis, they automatically go into like asthmatic events. They have hyperactive airway disease. They get a lot of inflammation in like their whole respiratory tract. So the climate does affect this particular group of patients all the time, especially around this time of year.
And what are some ways to help the patients from climate change?
I don't think we can help the patients from climate change. However, we can help the patients, especially that suffer from pulmonary issues, most of these patients are followed by a pulmonologist. So a lot of these patients take medications, and around this time of year, there are a lot of treatments that they can do on a like everyday treatment where it helps prevent them into going to like all these bronchospasms and asthma. It just prevents them from ending up in the ER all the time. They're super high risk for pneumonia. And if they take their medication, just like their steroids and their inhalers and their nebulizer treatments, it prevents them from having these events when the weather changes suddenly from being hot and humid to being like super cold.
How many deaths like yearly do you think there are from climate change?
From climate change?
Human health?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily know how many deaths exactly, but I do know that around this time of year we're exposed to the flu, so that also affects them. So this time of year it gets bad, just because older patients that have a lot of issues like that, pulmonary issues, and they get sick like just by the weather changing, they can end up with like a severe pneumonia, and then all of a sudden end up intubated and acute respiratory distress, and they can die from it. So this time of year, we definitely have a lot more deaths than you would see like any other time of year, just because you have a lot of more exposure to the flu and pneumonias and things like that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.